What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on EI Entertainment Studios, back at it with another debate video. Today's debate video, we're going to be talking about Godzilla versus legendary Destoroyah. So here's the plan, folks. We're going to go over the backstories, characteristics, and we're basically going to analyze these two giant kaijus. Once we're done analyzing them, we're going to put them up against each other in a death battle. So, without further ado, let's begin with the backstory of legendary Godzilla. So, Godzilla is an ancient alpha predator who was awoken by the nuclear bomb. It protects Earth as the ultimate force of nature. Which is actually interesting because other Godzillas from Japan are all, if not all, most are abominations that basically result from the nuclear bomb. For this Godzilla, the American Godzilla, it's a bit different. He's awoken by the nuclear bomb, but he's actually a force of nature that's not an abomination. He's a good thing. He's here to bring balance onto nature. It's a different take on the character, and quite frankly, I think it's pretty cool. But I do like the abomination aspect more because it makes him more daring and scary in that sense, but this is a pretty cool one as well. Alright, for abilities, we're going to do a quick skim. We're going to finish off the whole creature, and once we are done with the full analyzation, we'll come back to the abilities and do a full analysis of this as well. But for now, let's do a quick skim. So it will go as follows: Atomic Breath, Combat, Agility, Burning Ability. Territorial is maximum, Aggression maximum, Biome is Earth, Height is 120 meters. Alright, let's go back to the abilities. So the first one we have is the Atomic Breath, and this is the signature ability of Godzilla. It is a full blast of radioactive fire, and it just blows and melts everything in its path. It's very popular in every single Godzilla. It's mostly been blue, although Godzilla has had some different colors of Atomic Breaths. Like for example, Shin Godzilla has had a purple one. Although some people, they'll argue and say that it's Atomic Laser. Same thing. Atomic Laser, Atomic Breath, it's just different variations. Burning Godzilla has the red Atomic Breath, but generally the legendary Godzilla, without being in the burning state, in the most basic sense, he has a blue Atomic Breath. Unless he's in burning mode, but generally it's blue. Now when it comes to combat and agility, we're just going to combine the two because they go hand in hand, and my goodness. The legendary Godzilla by far is the most combat-worthy and agile Godzilla I've ever seen. He is fast, he is quick, his agility is on point, he knows how to fight, he knows how to kick, punch, headbutt, I mean, you name it. He knows martial arts as a kaiju, right? And his tail whip is deadly. It's not just powerful, it's deadly. He's killed one of the Mutos, as we've seen, with a tail whip. I mean, it's heavy, it's sharp, it's, you name it, right? And, to also say this, he's the only Godzilla to ever survive a blast from the Oxygen Destroyer, which makes his stamina incredibly well, and his, resilience to all these powerful attacks on him. In my opinion, it's pretty incredible. Next, we have the Burning Ability, and this is an interesting one because it requires two catalysts outside of his body. One is radiation. Now, you're going to say, what do you mean? Godzilla is radiation. That's true, but this means he needs more radiation than his body already possesses, which the best way to do it is, shooting him with an atomic bomb and getting more radiation on him, as we saw happen in King of the Monsters. And also, the complete and full essence and energy of Mothra. That means she needs to die and give her full energy to Godzilla. Both the energy of Mothra and the extra radiation, say like the atomic bomb, on Godzilla will put him into a burning state where he's going insane temperatures, everything is melting around him, not him, but around him, and when he shoots his atomic breath is red, you can hear Mothra's roar, and he just blasts everything out of existence in the sense, basically, of how powerful and hot this is. And that's how he melted and destroyed Ghidorah in Godzilla King of the Monsters. So very powerful ability. Alright folks, that is basically going to sum up legendary Godzilla, or you want to call him Godzilla 2021, just the most newest appearance of Godzilla for the legendary series. Well, whatever, what makes you happy. But we'll just go ahead and call him legendary Godzilla. Now, let's move on to legendary Destoroyah. Ooh, I still want to see this creature, come in one of the movies and make an actual appearance. I would love to see it happen. And we've already seen kind of foreshadows of Destoroyah, so I think it's gonna happen. whether on the TV series or if they do continue making movies, we'll see. Anyways, let's get back on point. So, legendary Destoroyah came into existence after the US Army shot the oxygen destroyer at Godzilla and King Ghidorah fighting in the ocean, and the blast was strong enough to blast Godzilla into a complete shock and severe physical damage. It did nothing to King Ghidorah, as the laws of physics of Earth do not apply to a creature from a different realm, but the chemical reaction with the oxygen destroyer, Godzilla and King Ghidorah created a new organism who hates the existence of life itself, known as Destoroyah. So this is the backstory that I came up with if, Destoroyah were to exist. Now, abilities. Let's do a quick skim. Same procedure, right? Anti-oxygen blast, crown of the fallen king zap, stomach tongue, tail grip, super spiny skin, and eye blast. Alright. Height is 145 meters, territorial is none, aggression exceeds maximum level, and biome unlimited point of life, and we're gonna talk about that. Okay. Alright. Let's go back to the abilities now. Anti-oxygen blast. So this is interesting. So this blast comes from its mouth, just similar to an atomic breath. Obviously it's not an atomic breath, but the same concept where it comes from the mouth. And so this is an anti-oxygen blast. So what it means is the specific spot where this blast hits, it kills all the oxygen, meaning it kills any living thing. So let's say if it hits an organ, let's say if it hits a kidney, right? A kidney will immediately die because it'll suck out all the oxygen and it'll just vaporize and become dust. So he could kill organs like this, or if it's a crucial part of the body, he could kill the whole organism. So anti-oxygen blast, it's basically a blast of the oxygen destroyer. Very, very, I would say powerful. Next, you have the crown of the fallen king's zap. Now this is, Destoroyah has a crown, or like this horn type of thing. You could call it a horn, I guess, on his head. Kind of translucent looking horn. And he can shoot a laser out of that. And it's not that it does something specific, but it's a very, focused, super hot in temperature laser that just melts and just cuts everything in its path. It's very similar to the atomic laser from Shin Godzilla. It's not the same thing, but I guess it's we could do a comparison to that. Again, it's like a laser, it's like white purplish, and it's just very powerful. It cuts flesh, cuts steel, it cuts everything, and it just blows everything up. But I would argue that the anti-oxygen blast is probably more deadly. Next we have the stomach tongue. Now that's disgusting. Stomach tongue. So yes, Destoroyah has a tongue in the middle of his stomach that is full of teeth, and when it opens up, it wraps around the body and starts like sticking the teeth inside of the flesh and start ripping the body up. And he does that multiple times, and he can do that. And this tongue, gets stretched like 50 meters long, which is insane. It's the size of the 1954 Godzilla, give or take. I think so. I think 1954 Godzilla, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So that's that. Next we have the tail grip. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Destoroyah has like a pincher at the end of his tail, and it's a tail grip. It's a more advanced version of the legendary. It's very powerful, and you can basically use the grip to pick opponents up and just smash them up and down, or just throw them around. It's very powerful. Next, the super spiny skin. This is a great defense mechanism. Basically, his skin is super spiny. That means opponents ramming into the skin are going to cut themselves. It's very powerful. In the defense mechanism, as I said. So yeah. And finally, we have the eye blast. The eye blast is simply a laser, which is similar to the the zap from the crown of the fallen king, but this one is coming straight from the eyes. It's more of a laser, but it's like a electric, or like an electricity, more of an electricity like pulse, or you could say a lightning, and simply it just wraps around the opponent and just puts them into a state of shock, and it gives them time to either defend or attack, which is the eye blast. And by the way, to explain why the biome of Legendary Destoroyah is unlimited point of life, because he himself is made out of the oxygen destroyer. He's lifeless but alive at the same time. So technically, he could live anywhere. Know how bad the environment is, because he is anti-life. Very interesting Titan, I'll tell you that. Alright folks, this is going to sum up both of these two giant kaijus. So now, we're going to put them up against each other in a death battle. So this is the plan. Far range battle and a close range battle. The reason why we do this, far range limits out some abilities that the opponents can use. So some limited, abilities we test if, some of the abilities are limited, can an opponent still win and defend themselves? It's a great way of testing them out. And finally, we do close range, just face to face, just all out. So we'll do far range first, and then we will do close range. So without further ado, let's see what abilities Legendary Destroyer can or cannot use in terms of far range. And let's be more specific though, they must be 700 meters apart. That means there is absolutely no physical contact in this. So very, very interesting. Alright, so again, 700 meters apart, no physical contact. Alright, so anti-oxygen blast. That is meant to go far distances, that's fine. Crown of the Fallen King Zap, that's fine. Stomach Tongue cannot go 700 meters, and plus it needs physical contact, so he cannot use that. Tail Grip, cannot use that. Super Spiny Skin, it's a defense mechanism, doesn't really matter. And Eye Blast, that one is a more shorter range, so that one will not be able to be used. So basically he can use the Anti-Oxygen Blast, Crown of the Fallen King Zap, and that's basically it. That's basically about it, what he can use. Now, for Godzilla himself, the Atomic Breath, yes, he could do that. Combat, not really. Agility doesn't matter. Burning ability, yes. So he could use the Atomic Breath and the burning ability. Good. Now we have that declared and we know what's going on. 700 meters apart. Personally, I'm going to say this Godzilla is the force of nature, so I believe he's going to be the first one to attack as he's defending Earth from an intruder. Destroyer is more like an alien creature, right? Because he's not meant to be here. He's formed from the Oxygen Destroyer. You could call him a, extraterrestrial, I guess. He's not Earthbound. Anyways, Godzilla's going to attack first with the Atomic Breath, and personally, the Atomic Breath is very powerful. However, it's going to do not too much damage because of the super spiny skin of Destoroyah. We talked about that. It's very deadly, and it's a great mechanism for defensive techniques. So because of the very spiny skin, some of the spines are going to be obviously ripped off, but it's still not going to penetrate the skin. So it's going to be very difficult for Godzilla to penetrate that. So it's going to be pretty difficult. And obviously, getting hit, Legendary Destroyer is going to respond. He's not going to just sit there. There's going to be a response, and we know how aggressive Legendary Destroyer is. And with that being said, the Anti-Oxygen Blast is going to do a lot of damage to Godzilla. Anywhere it hits, that part of the body is going to die or getting very close to being dead. And with that, the Crown of the Fallen King Zap is going to do a lot of damage combined with the Anti-Oxygen Blast. And we know he can simultaneously do this because the Anti-Oxygen Blast comes out of the mouth, the Crown of the Fallen King Zap comes out of the horn, so he could do this at the same time. So I imagine getting hit with the Anti-Oxygen Blast and then getting zapped by the Crown of the Fallen King Zap. That is deadly, and that's basically weakening you and then just blasting out of existence. But we have agreed that all abilities that can be used are going to be used. And so, in this case, the burning ability is also going to be used. And that's important because it's very powerful, it's very hot. And so what's essentially what's going to happen is this burning ability is going to make everything melt. And when he does it, he will do a lot of damage to Destoroyah. I mean, he basically melted, or whatever, whichever one was the right word. He destroyed King Ghidorah with the burning ability. And it's basically, let me put it to you like this. He's very hot temperature, and every single thing is essentially burning in front of him. And I think Legendary Destroyer is not going to stand a chance. I'll just put it to you like that. Alright folks, now let's go to close range. This one is going to be a little bit more specific because they are face to face. Alright. Now, there is to, mention there is a difference in their size. Godzilla is 120 meters, Legendary Destoroyah is 145. So it's not, that big, but there definitely is, some sense of difference there. Now, again, Legendary Destoroyah is bigger, and what that means is that when they're going face to face and they're, just running at each other and just basically ramming into each other at one point, Legendary Destoroyah is going to outpower Godzilla, right? Because he's bigger and bulkier, and the really spiny skin is dangerous, and it's gonna cause Godzilla a lot of damage. So in a face-to-face, Destoroyah is gonna get the initial win, and that's very dangerous for Godzilla. And so why that's so important is because that's going to cause Godzilla to essentially fall down, and Destoroyah is going to be in control. I don't know if you guys watch any combat sports, but if I could put like an explanation to that, whoever is on the ground doesn't have the advantage. And so Destoroyah being on top of that, he has the anti-oxygen blast from a face-to-face perspective, or the Crown of the Fallen King zap, and that's going to do a lot of damage, and that's dangerous. And I personally believe, just because of how close they are, these anti-oxygen blasts and the Crown of the Fallen King zap is just going to completely take Godzilla into a lifeless state. I know this one was a bit shorter than you thought, but that's just the evidence that I see. Being face to face, the anti-oxygen blast is just going to put Godzilla into a different realm. He's dead, right? Because I did talk about Godzilla being the first one to survive the blast from the Oxygen Destroyer, but this is not the same. This is a non-stop blast hitting him. He almost died from the blast. He's gonna immediately die from this because it's very powerful, and it's getting comboed with the Crown of the Fallen King zap. Therefore, and by that, he can also use the stomach tongue as well. So therefore, I'm gonna say Destroyer is gonna win this one. It's gonna become 1-1. All right. So what does that mean? We have to go to overtime. And in overtime, we just go over the abilities, and we'll see who is the better opponent. So let's look at Destoroyah first. Anti-Oxygen Blast, Crown of the Fallen King Zap, Stomach Tongue, Tail Grip, Super Spiny Skin, and Eye Blast. These are the abilities for Legendary Destoroyah. For Godzilla, it's going to be Atomic Breath, Combat, Agility, and the Burning ability. When I put 2 and 2 to the side, we kind of know Legendary Destoroyah's looks a bit more appealing. Therefore, I'm going to have to give the overtime to Legendary Destoroyah, making it 2-1 due to overtime. So it definitely was a close one, but at the end of the day, Legendary Destoroyah, I believe, will come out as victorious. Obviously, you can debate me in the comment section below. This is just my opinion. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great and wonderful day.